Welcome to Law Next, the podcast where I interview the innovators and entrepreneurs at the intersection of law and technology. I'm Bob Ambrogi, and in today's episode, we're going back to ClioCon 2025 for a conversation I recorded live there in Boston this past October. This was a particularly significant year for Clio, marked by major announcements that many saw as potentially transformative for the company. Most notably, Clio had recently announced its billion-dollar acquisition of vLex, the global legal research and intelligence platform. At ClioCon, I sat down with two key executives leading Clio's product and technology vision. John Foreman, who joined as Chief Product Officer in May, bringing experience from major SaaS companies including MailChimp and Podium, and Jonathan Watson, the Chief Technology Officer who's been with Clio for 8 years. We talked about what this moment means for Clio, how AI is reshaping their approach to building an intelligent legal work platform, their move into the enterprise market, and where they see things heading. It's a wide-ranging conversation about the company's ambitious vision and how they're executing on it. Two quick notes. As of this recording, Clio had not yet closed its acquisition of vLex. That deal did finally close a few weeks later. Also note, this was recorded in a busy conference environment, so you may hear some background noise. But I think you'll find the conversation worth it. We'll get to all of that in just a moment, but first, please take an opportunity to hear from the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Practice Panther is the all-in-one legal practice management solution that automates your firm's workflows from client intake to billing. Secure document sharing, seamless time tracking, and customizable templates mean fewer errors and increased efficiency. Join the tens of thousands of attorneys who've already discovered how Practice Panther can revolutionize their practices. Visit practicepanther.com to start your free trial today. You didn't go to law school to waste time writing and responding to discovery requests. Never waste time on discovery again with BriefPoint. BriefPoint drafts your discovery responses and requests for documents within minutes of your first sign-in. BriefPoint is the most reliable discovery drafting solution on the market, and it works right out of the box. Get your first document drafted by going to briefpoint.ai and clicking Get Started. No credit card required. BriefPoint. Draft what matters, automate the rest. Now let's get to today's conversation. This is Bob Ambrogi, and I am here at ClioCon 2025 in Boston, Massachusetts, where I am doing a series of interviews with people here at the conference, and very happy now to be talking with Jonathan Watson, Chief Technology Officer, and John Foreman, Chief Product Officer. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
So, this has been a, how do I say it, a packed conference in terms of announcements coming out of Clio. I'm sure, obviously, you were both at the keynote yesterday, if not having seen it ahead of time. And it struck me, as somebody who's been to ClioCon a number of times, it struck a number of the other people I've talked to, that this represented somewhat of a transformative moment for this company in terms of the product announcements that came out of it. So, I mean, we can talk about some of the specific aspects of all that, but I mean, kind of wonder how you, in your own minds, kind of frame this year and what's happening this year with Clio and everything you're doing.
Well, I'm new, so I've only been at Clio 6 months. So all I've known is the transformation.
Yeah.
When I started, the week I started, Jack was like, "Hey, we're talking to this company, vLex. welcome to the team." It's just been very busy. But honestly, the way I've sort of experienced this is it's been very exciting thinking about this ambitious vision that Jack has had. Like, hey, we're going to really help attorneys through the entire soup to nuts client journey. How can we help them? He identified a spot where it's like, man, it'd be really helpful if we had a library, if we had an AI that knew the law, we execute on that, brought that in, and it's been so exciting to think about how do we get AI to pop up all on the journey, and how do we integrate all this stuff to work together super well. And so that's been me the last 6 months thinking about that stuff. It's been great.
Yeah, you came from where?
I came from I worked at a couple other companies. One of them is called MailChimp, where I was the chief product officer.
I've heard of that.
One is called Podium, where I was chief product officer. And both of them were horizontal companies. They served a lot of different verticals, right? Everyone's probably sent a MailChimp newsletter. At some point, you're part of an HOA or you're yelling at someone, you send a newsletter, you gotta keep lawn mode, I don't know, whatever. But the problem with these horizontal things is, well, you're just doing this one thing for a lot of different verticals. But AI, when I thought about it, I was like, man, the best AI is AI where like it understands the whole context and it can do things. And that really comes from vertical software. I understand my customer. I understand the information because I operate the back office. I operate the front office, right? And because I have all that information, I can actually like do a thing, like run intake or assemble a bill or collect payment. And so that's what I was looking to do. That's how I ended up at Clio.
Yeah, and as chief product officer, is your portfolio everything, or how do you kind of focus it?
Yeah, Jonathan and I think about everything all the time, all at once.
They should make a movie about it.
Yeah. Make it super weird.
Yeah. Jonathan, you have been here a few years now. What about you? What's your kind of perspective on where we are in this moment? What's happening?
I think the coolest thing that's happening is, for the 8 years that I've been at Clio, we talk about the legal industry and these like vertical kind of slices and there are these pillars, and there's business of law and practice of law and then research, and there's never really been, every year I felt like we were always talking about like, hey, where do we get in? Where do we expand? What does it look like? And there was never really a technology that made sense other than just like light up a new line of business. And then with AI, it was like, hey, wait a minute. This starts to show kind of what we can do across all of these. So instead of thinking of them as discrete things, we begin to think about it as a set of capabilities that we bring to bear to do actual work, which is what John talks about. And when you think about research in that, it's like, how do you build the best document drafting system on the planet? Well, you need access to legal research to do that. How do you build the best legal intake specialist? Well, you need to know all of these things inside your practice management. And to me, that's the large transformational change that's happening inside of Clio, is just thinking less in these slices and just workflows and work and automations and action across everything that a attorney or user uses.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this bringing together the business of law and the practice of law, as you alluded to, and I'm not sure it's not fair to say that Clio was only a business of law platform before, or that vLex and Fastcase were only practice of law platforms before, but that was kind of more where their home bases were, right?
Sure.
So why is this matter for your customers, for legal professionals, for lawyers, for law firms to bring these together?
Yeah, I think it is a fiction that, in particular, technology companies have probably put in place that like there are hard walls between these jobs, right? We use the word in the keynote. Jack used the word teammate a lot, right? When thinking about AI, it's this teammate, it's that teammate. And what's really interesting to think about is all of our human teammates that we work with. I don't work with anyone who's like, you know what? I just send emails all day. I'm just in email. That's what I do. The practice of email, right? Like that's not a thing. Real teammates, they're constantly like, maybe they got 2 monitors, maybe they got a swivel chair, but they're constantly they're moving stuff around. They're doing stuff between tools. They understand the full business. And so when we thought about AI and how AI can be a teammate, let's put away the word agentic. How can AI be your teammate? It was really like, hey, these tools, AI needs access to all of these many things, right? It's going to swivel chair. It's going to swivel chair inside of the software between things. So I'm doing intake. As I'm doing intake, I'm getting documents. Man, wouldn't it be great if even before the consult, I process some of them? Oh, it's personal injury. Like, maybe I should put this into a timeline. I can go ahead and do that. And that way that timeline's maybe ready even at the console call, right? So you begin to think about a good teammate would probably get ahead on some things. And it can only do that as AI, since AI doesn't have a dual monitor set up and running a bunch of software, right? The only way it can do that is if it has access to all that. And that means bring it all under one roof. And I think that's what's going to be really powerful for our customers is like, man, it's all under one roof. So I know about all these things, but AI also knows about all these things that can use them together. And that's really powerful.
Yeah. Anything to add on that?
I think it's well said. I'll give you one quick analogy on where I think these things, why the business of law boundary is kind of blurry. I'm trying to work with an attorney now. They've sent me the retainer agreement. I have a thing I want adjusted in the retainer agreement. That entire loop I still have not resolved, and it's been like 8 days, which feels like an eternity to me. But I've indicated my instructions on it, and I would love for AI to pick up that communication, redraft that part of it, and hop to the attorney and say, is this all right? Yes, it's done. Sent off, emailed, e-signed, like all of that. We would remove frustration on the client's part, frustration on the attorney's part, mental overhead. And I know on the other end is just somebody trying to do their best work and try to juggle all of it. I'm going, you don't need to do this. Technology can do a huge portion of this work for you.
Yeah. One of the themes in Jack's keynote yesterday was this idea of evolving from a system of record to a system of action.
Yeah.
From a sort of a product engineering and design standpoint, how do you make that possible? How do you create that system of action?
Yeah, I mean, I can start on the technology side. A good portion of what we built on Duo has been the bedrock for a lot of this advancement. Has kind of been the rapid pace, has been doing it on the technology that we've been building, bringing everything into the unified platform of Clio's various products, pulling together all the data into a single place, giving access to it for all these various systems, and then a whole bunch of other new stuff is really how we start enabling that en masse. And I think that's something that we're in a unique position to do that everyone else isn't, and then you couple in with all of the app partners, all the integrations, all the other future product ideas, all this stuff, and it only just enriches over time. And then that allows John and his team to go, these are the cool problems to solve, and jumps over to that.
Yeah, one of the ways that I've been thinking about is when you think about system of record, you're kind of talking about nouns. Oh, this is a thing that holds and matters. It holds my contacts. It holds my documents. It holds my expenses. These are all nouns. They're things. And system of action is all about verbs, right? And so we're going to start thinking about what is this software doing? What work is it doing for you? Not waiting for you to do it, and then you put the thing you did in it. What can it do? So does this system intake for you? Does this system schedule for you? Does this system track time for you? Does it fill for you? Does it research for you? Those are verbs. We're switching from like nouns to verbs. Now, can't do any of the verbs without the nouns, right? Like it can't do summarization and research, etc., without your doc feeds, without an understanding of your matters, right? It's rare that you have sentences that are just verbs unless you just drop a brick on your foot and then maybe it's just a verb. But most of the time you need both. So it's like, hey, we have the stuff, the nouns, these ingredients, and now let's start working with them, doing things with them, doing actual work for people. And that doesn't mean like go crazy, send some autonomous thing off to get you sued for malpractice. It means identifying very specific moments that's like, man, I can move the ball forward a couple of yards here for you, and that would be super convenient. And burning them down one at a time. Or in our case, given how many teams we have, like 8 at a time.
Yeah,
but
or
more.
Yeah,
it's been a busy 6 months.
I bet it has been. Yeah. You're listening to a conversation with the 2 Clio executives most directly responsible for leading the company's product and technology vision. John Foreman, Chief Product Officer, and Jonathan Watson, Chief Technology Officer. We recorded this live at ClioCon, Clio's annual conference. which was held this year in Boston in October. We'll get back to it in just a moment, but first, please take this opportunity to learn about the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Are administrative tasks taking time away from your firm's billable hours? Practice Panther is the game-changing legal practice management software that gives you back your most valuable asset, time. Imagine automatically tracking billables, managing cases, and communicating with clients, all from one intuitive platform. Trusted by tens of thousands of attorneys, Practice Panther streamlines your practice so you can get back to doing what you do best, practicing law. Start your free trial today by visiting practicepanther.com. The $10 million call doesn't always come during business hours. Sometimes it's 10 p.m. and there's no one there to answer. Eve AI Intake is the always-on system trusted by top plaintiff firms to capture every lead, qualify every case, and make sure the biggest opportunities never slip away. Firms like Mike Morse Law are already using Eve to handle after-hours calls and keep million-dollar cases from slipping away. Visit eve.legal/intake. That's eve.legal/intake so you don't miss the next $10 million call at 10 p.m. Welcome back to Law Next. One of Clio's major new product announcements at ClioCon was Clio Work, an AI workspace for research, reasoning, and drafting. As we return to my conversation with Clio's Chief Product Officer John Foreman and Chief Technology Officer Jonathan Watson, we pick up there and I ask them to provide more details on Clio Work and what it offers to Clio's customers. Let's get back to that conversation. One of the, product announcements was Clio Work, which when Jack first started talking about it yesterday, I started to think they've done a nice sort of reskinning and rebranding of vLex and what vLex had built. And then as he kept going through, I thought, no, there's a little more here. So I assume vLex was the foundation that was developed on. But what is Clio Work? I mean, how does it? What is the experience kind of going to be like for a lawyer or legal professional using that product?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about our product strategy in sort of three pillars. One of them is I want to grow my firm. I want to actually bring folks in, and I want to have them be advocates for me. Mm-hmm. This is Clio.
Right. Yeah.
I want to operate a successful firm. This is the provenance of manage and accounting, right? Mm-hmm. And then the third bucket is the actual work. Like, this is what I'm here to do. This is substantive work product, right? I want to deliver a great product. And so we have been like, we really want a clear offering in this pillar of delivering an excellent work product. And we have some offerings already in that space. I'd say Clio Draft operates in that space, but work is really sort of this culmination of, hey, let's gather these elements together. Let's gather draft together with a library, with a legal research AI like Vincent, and let's really help people assemble that product, the ultimate end, the reason why they're in business. Let's help them assemble that super well, right? I've been really hungry today. I did go to a lunch, but it was a work lunch, and I was fed salmon. And I didn't eat much of it, so I've been thinking about food a lot, and I've been talking about this in terms of like a pizzeria, because I actually just want to go over to Italy and grab a slice of pizza. But it's like, okay, if you think about this from I don't mean to belittle law firms by comparing them to pizzerias, Dan. I love pizza. It's like a pizzeria. You gotta get out there and circulate flyers and coupons, etc. Like, there is marketing stuff to be done. You have to run a pizzeria well, which means I got to get like my raw ingredients and I got to run payroll, etc. And then at the end of the day, what's most important is that I actually sell a really good pizza, and if I don't sell a really good pizza, I'm done. And work for us is the best encapsulation of like, hey, when it comes to making a really awesome pizza, which is the backbone of everything, we don't have a product for that. So that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, yeah. All right. It's not an insult to call a law firm or pizzeria in Boston because we like our pizza here, but so I mean, I guess part of what confusing me a little bit about it is that part of the messaging is that AI is going to be infused throughout everything we do.
Absolutely.
We being you. At the same time, Clio Work is a separate standalone product for $199 a month. Vincent is sort of positioned in the enterprise space a little bit, but has application across, I guess, all products. Can you kind of explain how AI is both sort of focused on the Clio Work product, but also infused throughout other products? I mean, what's sort of the future vision for how lawyers using the Clio platform are going to have access to and integrate with AI?
Oh boy. I'm going to try to answer this without using the word agentic.
Or pizza.
Or pizza.
Yeah, the way to think about this, or at least the way I think about it, is, I just described sort of 3 areas that technically don't require AI at all, right? I want to grow my business. I want to operate a really successful firm. And I want to deliver a really great product.
Yeah.
And you can think about products in there that are just like, hey, these humans use these products, right?
Sure, yeah.
I got in Grow, I got web forms, I got intake forms, things like that. In Manage, I am sort of tracking my matter across a Kanban board. I am notifying people, running a calendar, and et cetera. I am assembling bills.
Sure.
In Work, without AI, maybe I am putting together templates. I am drafting documents. I'm assembling questionnaires. I've got a library where I'm doing some research, et cetera. So you can think about this from just a human perspective if AI never existed.
Yeah.
Now, AI does exist.
Yeah.
And the way we are thinking about AI is in each of these places where there's software to help you, well, humans can use that software.
Yep.
AI can use that software, and the AI and humans can collaborate together. So now in Grow, there are things that AI can do. In Manage, there are things that the AI can do. That's Manage AI. And in Work, there are things that the AI can do, and that's in the form of Vincent, right? So we have that. Now here's where things get a little confusing, which is, we already just said these walls are kind of arbitrary. The work bleeds together.
Yeah.
And so part of what we think about is there are pieces of the substantive legal work that you might want to jump into straight out of Grow. You might want to research something about, hey, I want to research custody issues when domestic violence is involved in New York State, right? And you might be thinking about that from an actual intake. Like I'm doing intake and I'm thinking about, boom, I'm going to jump to Work, right? So we might actually see an AI pop up in some of the other places where it draws you back into the other tasks. And this is where you kind of get into that agentic thing, where it's just like, what we're actually doing there is we're orchestrating how there are various agents that do jobs, and we're thinking about, actually, I know you're over here, you could do this job. This agent could do this job for you if you'd like it to. And so that's how it works.
Yeah.
Products, you have AIs operating in those products, and then we're thinking about how they come together.
But is AI available to me no matter what products I subscribe to? If I just have Manage, I don't have Grow, I don't have Work, do I have access to AI capabilities within Manage? And if I then add on Work, does that expand or enhance the AI tools I have available?
Yeah, so the way it would work, let's say you just don't Manage. I can buy Manage AI, right?
Yep.
Formerly called Duo, called
Yep.
Manage AI.
Right.
And it will do the things in Manage that we think are appropriate for the AI to do. That includes things like we talked about yesterday, processing scheduling orders, right?
Yeah.
Or it could include assembling bills automatically. Now, we're going to want people to use all these products together. So we'll probably also pop up some things where it's like, hey, I know you're in Manage, you have Manage AI. With these things in Manage, you actually could do this really interesting legal research thing, or you could assemble a timeline, or you could do a document, a tabular view, whatever it is, and we might actually pop up a little moment that's like, you should do that right now. In order to do that, you would actually need to buy Work, because that takes place. So that's how it works. You can buy AI for Manage. We'll also probably be telling you, it'd be better if you had Work for these other things.
Yep.
Watson, I don't know. Did that appropriately answer these questions?
I think it did.
I talked enough.
The additional piece that I would add is the user experience and the quality of what we can do gets better when we understand the type of job you're trying to get done. So in Manage, we're going to be able to do some things very, very well. But when you walk into work, we know what you're there to do. And that allows us to build a bunch of tailored solutions to doing that very specific job. And then there's all these endpoints and outputs, and it just really enriches and kind of narrows the problem space for us to operate in. Versus the world of AI and LLMs, it's like, I want you to do everything, everywhere, all at once.
As you said, you came aboard just as Clio was getting ready to announce the vLex acquisition. As we sit here today, that is still not a fait accompli. There's still awaiting regulatory approval, I guess is the phrase. How much has that inhibited you from pursuing the full line of sort of product development and product integration that you want to do until that's all final?
Yeah, I mean, we've done everything together that we possibly can underneath the regulations and the requirements that all the various government bodies and governing bodies put in place for us. So, I talk to Angel and the team at vLex weekly, if not daily. John does some version of that with Robin and Dan. Like we talk, and we're just so excited to get the thing across the finish line so we can all work together in a better basis.
Yeah, but when you get across the finish line, is there then a whole new race that starts?
Yeah. Like, there's plenty of work.
Oh, yeah. The work is unending. I wish I could say that, like, well, due to AI, we don't have any work anymore. It's just doing it for us. The work is unending. There's so much to do.
That's the engineers. They won't do any work. It'll just be PMs coding.
Well, that's what the lawyers are all saying, right? Due to AI, they're not going to have any work anymore.
I think people's experience of ClioCon is, hey, we're getting up on stage and we're going to announce this big thing, and it might feel like a culmination. But the way we've been talking internally is it's a starting line. Right? Like, we have some great products that we are putting out the door, but this is a starting line for where we are headed. With work, with AIs in each of these products, with helping people do very specific jobs faster, more efficiently, using AI, tying those together. Like, we got a ton of work to do.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave here, and it's going to feel like we're actually just getting started.
Yeah. I've had conversations with people before coming to this ClioCon, but I talked to a lot of people about, are you timing? How's your timing? Okay. I was actually recently talking to somebody who's got a small law practice who's been kind of shopping practice management platforms and expressed frustration over the fact that Clio Grow and Clio Manage remain separate products, whereas there are other LPMs out there that offer those as part of a syndicate, a complete product. And now with Clio Work, with this whole sort of array of other products that were launched out there yesterday, is there thoughts about eventually somehow this all comes together in more of a single product way, or what's the rationale for keeping all of this as separate products?
Yeah, who was it who said, like, oh man, I'm gonna butcher this quote, but like, all of software is basically like aggregation and disaggregation coming together and splitting apart of things.
Yeah.
That's always the story, right?
Yeah.
And we're balancing two things. On one hand, we do have customers that are like, this should just all be one product.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we have customers who are saying, this interface is too complex, you got too much shit in here I don't use, I just want this.
Yeah.
And so there's always people pulling us toward a point solution for just the thing they care about, and people pulling us to aggregate it all together and have it be one thing. And so, okay, what do you do? And this is a huge design challenge. That's why we have a massive design team. It's like, let's think about artificial but logical boundaries between the work that allows people to have experience of these products that don't have 5 nested menus, right? Like, there's only so much real estate on a screen, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't want to shove everything together. And we try to think about it in terms of actual employees and modes, right? Where most of the time, when someone is doing the things in Grow that you do in Grow, they are in a slightly different mindset. They might actually be a different employee than the things that are in Manage.
Yeah.
So that felt like a good dividing line.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to AI can actually move across those things, and you start to break down those barriers a little bit. But that's why we're creating sort of the structures we're creating, is because we are walking this tightrope of put it all in one place, so this is really convenient, and well, now it's too big, and this is like 8 jobs in here, break it apart.
Yeah.
And so we're balancing that.
Yeah. And as if you guys didn't have enough to do, you've now launched Clio Operate, and you're moving up into the enterprise world. What do you think the challenges are there, or what? That's a whole different world in a lot of ways from what you've done over the years. You maybe were a little more in that world in prior positions. I don't know, but what do you see as the sort of the challenges in expanding up into the enterprise world?
I mean, I think it's perceived different, but a lot of the same still. You just see like, hey, I need to operate more at scale. I need more customized ability to enforce my practices, processes. I still need access to wide adoption of AI and other tools. It sounds different, but it's a lot of the same. And you might need to weave together a wide variety of point solutions inside of an enterprise firm in a way that you probably don't in a solo or something else. So it's a very interesting problem, but we're learning a ton about it, but I'm not really thinking it's a technology problem at this point. I think it's mostly just we got to bring the same methodology that we built to any product, which is tons of customer feedback, tons of discovery, and then building things as fast as we possibly can, and then launching those into firms and learning more along the way.
Yeah.
I think of 3 things that are kind of a little bit different in the enterprise space that we'll be doing. One, we can touch on infinite customizability, right? And we'll have to figure out what is the line that we walk between having opinionated software. Our software is very opinionated for smallness. And an enterprise is like, no opinions, just model our organization exactly the way we do things, right? What is our stance there? And we'll have to build a certain level of customizability into the software. That's one. 2, when you sell to a solo, the person who's buying the software and the person who's using the software every day are the same person.
Yeah.
In enterprise, the people who buy the software and purchase the software and the people who use the software are actually different folks. And you have to think through that. And that actually gets to the 3rd point, which is you're going to have to think about sort of firm operations. A lot of what that these folks care about, there's an internal focus as well as an external focus that is very substantial. It gets into this idea of I got roles and permissions and reporting, and there's a lot of stuff there. And so all of these are very solvable challenges. And I told someone else the other day, man, it is so nice to go up market. Companies that try to go down market, there's a reason why there is no SMB version of Salesforce. You'll never be able to take that steaming pile of garbage and make it work for a solo. Can't do it. Right? But we have the advantage of having some beautiful products that are opinionated, that work really well, and we can think about how you deploy those in these upmarket spaces. I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I'm getting signals back here that our time is up. The hovering PR people, the cane is coming out. I guess I always like to kind of ask a little bit more about the future. I mean, Jack laid out this vision of sort of intelligent legal work, a platform for intelligent legal work. So, what is that? What's next? What's ahead for you in terms of thinking about how you're going to build that out and deploy that?
This is crypto and VR goggles.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I like it.
Yeah, throw some agentic stuff in there. We're good to go. Agentic crypto VR goggles.
Oh my God.
I mean, honestly, it's how fast can we do everything that we have ideas about is probably where my entire brain. I will also say secure and compliant because John doesn't want to think about that, so I think a lot about it.
Your brain is secure and compliant, or
both.
Yeah.
But I'd say just how fast can we go?
Yeah.
And we've been accelerating pretty aggressively over the last little bit, and that's been exciting to see too.
Yeah. Anything to add to that?
I mean, I think what we're going to see is we get here next year. So where we're heading in the future, we get here next year, and you're just going to see a lot of the things we've talked about fully baked, right? Where it's like we've started to draw the owl for folks, and we're going to finish drawing the owl. And it's going to be a beautiful owl. So I think that's what's going to happen over the next year.
All right.
Yeah, plus, like, yeah, VR goggles probably.
All right. Well, Jonathan, thank you very much. Pleasure to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you taking time out of this busy conference to do that.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
See ya. All right. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to share your own thoughts or comments, please do so by messaging us on LinkedIn or other social media, or just email me directly, ambrogi@gmail.com. If you're a fan of LawNext, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. LawNext is a production of LawNext Media. I'm your host, Bob Ambrogi. I hope to join us again next time for another episode of LawNext.